this is probably one of my very first old conversions stroke kit bashes. My Big Mek with custom force field on bike, and for my force for the Warbosses I just want to tart him up a bit. So I'm thinking I like from here back, I like the trailer, I like the tracks, I love this. I do with a bit of tweaking. I just want to knock that custom force field, the KFF, back a little bit so it's sitting up a bit more, or maybe even leaning back at a slightly better angle backwards. But the front part, the Deathcopter hub there with the handlebars, I'm just not happy, and the mech is too small because I want it to be a big mech. So I'm gonna lop off the front, I think, and that is what I'm making here, the forks. So the idea is then to have the bigger forks, maybe try and angle the tracks so they're down, so the whole bike can just sit up just a little bit more, but the tracks are level, like so. And then just slightly bigger forks, take off the what would have counted as the power claw there. I might still use that, I don't know yet, jig it about a bit. But yeah, just sort of angle that down a bit, bigger forks, bigger mech. And I found this head, which I think, I know it looks a bit like a Doc's head, doesn't it? But I don't know, got a kind of mad mechy feel to it. So I might, I don't know yet, not 100% sure on that. I might run the geezer with that, but I need some big chonky arms. So I might have to go ogre arms, ogre upper torso, possibly, with that head. Could work, couldn't it? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, maybe bare chested. Maybe I'll get rid of the saggy tits a bit of armour around him or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where I really don't like these winkle picker boot things either. That's really not a bit of me, that. Yeah, so the boots would have to come off and we'll get some decent feet on him. But yeah, let's have a look and see.
So first up was to sort the forks. Any proper mech would be riding a proper chopper, so a nice big set of front forks would be perfect. I found this bit from the Kill Team Terrain set, and I thought they'd make a really good set of forks. So I started with a bit of chopping and hacking. So I nicked the front wheel from this transit van set from Italiari. After all, Big Mek Mel is a working class mech, and you don't get much more working class than White Van Man, do you? So I glued the hub to a bit of plastic card, and then realised that the forks didn't have enough travel to fit the springs which I made from jewellery maker's soft wire. So I then set about hacking up the forks to extend the cylinder bit, you know, the piston bit in it, to make them a bit longer to incorporate the springs. All the best mod cons in Mel's workshop. Look how dull that blade is. Also flipped both of the forks upside down, so the piston bit was at the top rather than the bottom. And again, look at the recoil on that. Here you can see it all coming together. Much longer travel on the forks there, so I'll be able to fit them springs in nicely now. Once the glue had gone off and they'd all set up nice and firm, I then wrapped the jewellery maker's wire round and round to make a sort of spring. With the forks done, I then needed some handlebars, and this truck axle would make a perfect set of dropped kind of ape hanger style handlebars. So I chopped them up a bit and then fitted them on.
We're in there. Here we go. Get in there.
And as if by magic, or the power of editing, if I'm totally honest, more like my inability to press the record button whilst doing anything, the front end has a proper Orky cut and shut job. Old forks and front end off, new one glued in place. At this point, I honestly couldn't be arsed faffing around to try and get a leg sorted, so then I had the proper Orky mech mad idea of giving him some killer can legs. What Orky biker mech wouldn't want a set of massive robot legs after all? So I drilled a hole straight through, roughly where I thought his hips would be, and inserted, a bit of styrene rod to mount the legs to either side. Then I chopped up the left leg so I could extend the piston so his foot could be on the floor to give him that kind of Hell's Angel, fat boy, casual, me and my machine look. Then replaced the two small outer pistons with some thinner styrene rod. With a lot of sticking and repositioning, got the left leg finally in place. Fitted a footrest from the new Waaagh field artillery kit and rested the right foot on it, bending the toe cap over a bit, just so it sort of looked like he was gripping onto it. So with the feet and legs all now sorted, it was time to work on the janky head neck joint. Here, the head's just held into position with some blue tack, but I green stuffed it in place, but had to cover the joint, so decided to make a kind of dog collar for him.
Little dog collar, using some of that Vallejo plastic putty. Just waiting for the putty to go off, and I think that looks like a decent spiked collar to go around the back of his neck to fill in that janky gap.
So I cut a piece of styrene rod and clipped it over a longer piece of the same rod, then added the plastic putty, pulling away quickly to create the spikes. A bit like icing a cake, really. It was just then that I had a thought. This mech is going to need a way to warn all them other greenskin gits to get out of his way. And what better way to warn someone to get out of your way than with a comedy clown horn. Mounted a tool chest to the front, looted from the same Waaagh field artillery kit as the footrest, and a headlamp and a screen too. And that was pretty much the build done. Time to do some basing. Some barrels, corrugated plastic card, fuel cans, bullets, wheels, and general mech yard detritus were all glued to the base. And then I slopped on some Vallejo dark earth texture paint. Then it was time for a quick test fit of the trailer. All seemed to be in order. Then it was time to prime. Matte black, this time from Halfords. Great. With the model all primed, matte black, I dry brushed it with lead belcher all over on the actual bike, then set about painting the base. Using some weathering powders, some rust pigment, and just all general contrast paints over the metallics. It gave it a really nice effect, I think. To be honest, you can't really see much of the base when the bike's on it anyway. Then it was, well, what I thought was the last bit of meching, a huge banner pole to show who's the biggest mech in this here speed war. I did this whilst on the Warbosses live hobby and chat stream. A nice Orky skull glyph and huge spanner, all mech'd out of plasticard. With the banner done, it was then just time to paint. A few hazard stripes, Avalanche sunset with Seraphim sepia for me yellow, as I always do, and that was it. That's what I thought anyway, apart from the glaringly obvious omission of any Dakar. I forgot to mech the Dakar guns, so I got to work with that real quick, and I made them out of some Umi Mech Boy guns. I can't remember where they were from now. Who cares? They shoot the bullets all the same. So that's it, with the addition of the Dakar guns, so at least he can bloody shoot now. That's my entry to the Warboss character build challenge done. And I now have a new Big Mek on bike with custom force field and power claw to lead my speed war all the way to the meet-up. Yeah!